Hi guys, welcome to Bible Breakdown. We are doing 1 Samuel chapter 13. So verse 1 actually tells us that Saul was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned over Israel for 42 years. Then it tells us that he chose 3,000 men from Israel. He kept 2,000 for himself, and then he gave 1,000 to a man named Jonathan. If you're wondering who Jonathan is, later in the chapter it tells us that Jonathan is his son. So Jonathan is Saul's son. Then the rest of the troops were all just sent back home. Now Jonathan, he takes his troops and it says that he attacks a Philistine governor in the land called Geba. So the Philistines heard about this, and Saul, he takes a trumpet and he starts blowing the horn so that everybody in the land could know what's happening. Then verse 4 says, "And all Israel heard the news. Saul has attacked the Philistine garrison, and Israel is now repulsive to the Philistines. Then the troops were summoned to join Saul at Gilgal." Now, when I tell you the Philistines were ready to fight, they were not joking. They did not come to play. It says they had 3,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and troops as numerous as the sand on the seashore. You know how much sand is on the seashore? That's a lot. Then the men of Israel, they were so scared. When I tell you they were hiding, they were running, they was trying to do everything they could to avoid the situation. And verse 7 says, some Hebrews even crossed the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. Bruh, they swimming in the ocean to get away from this. This is a mess. Continuing verse 7, it says, Saul, however, was still in Gilgal, and all his troops were gripped with fear. Now let's go back to chapter 10, where Samuel, he was kind of giving Saul what the confirmation would be when he would be anointed king. So 1 Samuel chapter 10 verse 8 says, afterwards go ahead of me to Gilgal. I will come to you to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifice fellowship offerings. Wait 7 days until I come to you and show you what to do. So fast forward, Saul's in Gilgal, and this is the time that Samuel was talking about. So verse 8 says, he waited 7 days for the appointed time that Samuel had set, but Samuel didn't come to Gilgal, and the troops were deserting him. So Saul, he is so desperate because he appears to be all alone. The troops are gone. Samuel didn't come. So what does he do? He takes it upon himself to do the burnt offering. You know what the irony is? Verse 10 says, just as he finished offering the burnt offering, Samuel arrived. I laugh because it's like, if you just was a little more patient, like literally a little bit, everything would have been fine. But, So Samuel arrives and he's like, what did you do? And Saul, he thinks he's clever. He's like, well, the troops left and I didn't think you were coming. And you told me that we had to do this burnt offering. So I just kind of did it upon myself because I was scared that the Philistines were going to attack and hurt us. After Saul said that, Samuel let him have it. I was reading that Verse 13 and 14 says, Samuel said to Saul, you have been foolish. You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. It was at this time that the Lord would have permanently established your reign over Israel. But now your reign will not endure. The Lord has found a man after his own heart, and the Lord has appointed him as ruler over his people because you have not done what the Lord commanded. So Samuel, he gets up and he goes. He leaves. And then it says Saul registered the troops who were with him, and it was about 600 people. So Saul, his son Jonathan, and the troops were at Geba, and the Philistines were camped at a place called Michmash. Then verse 17 says, raiding parties went out from the Philistines' camp in 3 divisions. So they was really just all over the place, attacking everyone and everything. Then verse 19 says, no blacksmith could be found in all the land of Israel, because the Philistines had said, otherwise the Hebrews will make swords or spears. So because of this, they had to go to the Philistines to sharpen all their tools. And it seems like they were obviously overcharging them because they were the only people available to do the job. So of course they're going to try and make profit out of it. Then the last verse 22 says, so on the day of battle, not a sword or spear could be found in the hands of any of the troops who were with Saul and Jonathan. Only Saul and his son Jonathan had weapons. So you mean to tell me Saul and Jonathan are the only people that have weapons out of the 600 other men that was with them, and they want to go into battle with the Philistines? that had the same amount of people as there's sand on the seashore? Okay, but we're going to see what happens next. We're going to see. All right, guys, that was chapter 13, and that is all I have for y'all. Tomorrow we will do chapter 14. I love y'all. God loves y'all more. Have a great night.